best sessions that I attended. I actually wrote on my evaluation that this may very well have made the whole conference worthwhile.
Oh my God, spectacular. This made the conference. This 1 hour was the best thing ever in the conference. It was amazing.
I love Sam's energy. He's got incredible energy on the platform, and his knowledge comes across so well. He's just he's a really extremely knowledgeable guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sam Richter.
Going to give you a taste of no more selling. How to find information in ways you never thought possible, and then use that information to connect with suppliers, to connect with your clients, connect with internal people in ways that are relevant to what they care about.
I'm going to say something rather profound, see if you agree with me. The internet has changed the way we do business. Yeah. But I'm not talking about the way you might think. I'm not talking about online events or online RFPs or auctions or reverse auctions or e-commerce or any of those things. I'm talking about the traditional role of relationships. People do business by collaborating, by innovation, by doing things together. And sometimes in this high-tech, crazy world, we sometimes forget about that. It all becomes texting. It all becomes video conferencing and webinars and all this kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, it's all still about people. And I'm going to show you how to use these technologies in ways you never thought possible to actually strengthen your relationships with others. So show of hands, how many of you have ever had that opportunity, especially when you were younger? You know, you're struggling and it's like, man, I've got to make this thing happen. And then you do it.
How many of you were in this business, BG, before Google? Wasn't life awesome then? People are like, you must love technology. I'm like, kind of. Because I remember when I used to go home on Friday and no one could get in touch with me. Those were good times. There's all this information. There's all this data, literally trillions of data points. Because there's wireless internet access in this room, there's literally trillions of data points floating around our head right now. The key is, how do we take data and translate that into information? How do we transform information into knowledge? And then how do we use that knowledge to grow our business?
So I want to start off by asking you a question. I want you to think back probably earlier in your career. Did you ever have an opportunity to close a deal or launch an event or meet somebody, and you know if you were able to close this deal, if you were able to actually make this connection, it was going to change your career. It was going to change your life.
Engaging, kept us on our toes, laughing the entire time, real, not a sales pitch. In 15 years of being an event manager, hands down one of the best sessions I've ever attended.
Oh my God, that was awesome. It was amazing.
What'd you like about it?
Everything. It was humorous. He delivered a great message. It was entertaining. It was just amazing. It was so much information, my brain is exploding.
How many of you think Google's important? Raise your hand. How many of you think Google's critical? So most of you think it's important or it's critical. Like if I didn't have Google, I couldn't do my business very well. Well, how many of you have ever read the Google manual? Because there's no such thing as the Google manual.
What's the likelihood that one of these high net worth individuals is going to Google your name before they decide to work with you? What do you think the likelihood is? 100%. 100%. I said, what do you think they find? He said, I have no clue. I said, well, I found your MySpace page. He said, oh yeah, that thing. I set that up like 5 years ago. He goes, is that still out there? I said, not only is it out there, but it's been hijacked by a pornographer. You can spend your entire life, your entire career building an incredible reputation.
And yet, it just takes a second, that one little mistake, that can ruin it for all of you. Permission. You have to have permission to ask great questions. How do you gain permission? By understanding the other person. How do you understand the other person? It's easy once you know where and how to look. So that's the why. The how is how to do complex mathematical queries in Google. But the why is the important part. To freak yourself out, do this on your own name. Now, if your name's Joe Smith, this won't work too well. All right, but if your name's Joe Bafutnik, it'll freak you out. How many of you have ever downloaded a file from the internet? PDF file, a PowerPoint. You don't think anything of it, right? Did you know that there are billions of files that people post online? Billions of them. Let me show you how you find them. You use what's called a file type colon search. Where you have YYY, you replace that with the kind of file that you're interested in. So if I'm interested in Excel spreadsheets, it would be file type colon XLS. Word documents, DOC or DOCX. What kind of Excel spreadsheets might be out there that we care about? Budgets, member lists, attendee lists, PDF files, could be proposals, all sorts of things. Let me give you a couple of examples. Now, I promised you're going to be smarter than a fifth grader. And let me prove to you why they don't teach these things to our kids. Think about this for a second. Now, many of you are probably sitting here going, gosh darn it, Richter, why didn't you teach me this stuff when I was in college? I mean, seriously, American history plus term paper plus file type colon DOC. Click, print, go out and party. So some of these things you don't want to tell your kids. Let's find all the vice presidents at 3M. How many of you would like to find job titles at big companies? Let's find all the vice presidents at 3M. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not hacking into the 3M employee directory. I can show you how to do it. It's just a way more expensive presentation. So invite me back next year. Just because you can find the information, does that necessarily mean that you should use it? So for example, if I said to you, you know, a great way to practice sales intelligence is to send an intern over to your competitor at 3 in the morning and look through their garbage can, go dumpster diving. How many of you would say that's a good idea? Although I see a couple of you writing notes, you know. Send intern.
Most engaging presenter I've seen in a long time, and really gave you some simple tools to be a more effective professional, not just sales, and it's just being a lifelong learning habit of being a better, well-equipped professional. Just fantastic.
We're always trying to find new ways to research and get new clients and get inside. And he was showing us a lot of ways to get inside, to narrow our searches down, to save us time, to be more effective. It was just brilliant.
And I know technology pretty well, and I learned a bunch. You know, so I'm like taking pictures of the screen. You know, it's like, oh, that's the key. You know, so I'm taking that home.
Many of you have seen it, and it's quite simple. It's nobody cares how much you know. They don't. Your clients could care less about how much you know. They don't care about your experiences. They don't care about your expertise. They don't care about who you've done events for. They don't care about your global programs. They don't care about any of that stuff until they know how much you care. People are amazingly passionate about one thing. What is it? Themselves. You're all amazingly passionate about yourself. And yet why, in an internal meeting or an external sales meeting, we talk about ourselves? Nobody cares. What are you doing to make sure that the other person feels important? What are you doing to make sure that they feel special? And that's what sales intelligence is. According to the statistics, what percentage of those people are going to type your name into Google and search on you before they have the meeting? The statistics will say 90%. 90% of your prospects are going to search you out before you have that meeting. How well did you really know their company? Was their company growing in size? Was it decreasing in size? Were they adding staff? Were they laying off staff? Were they adding product lines? Were they consolidating product lines? What was going on in their industry? Not your industry, but their industry. Was their industry growing? Was it contracting? Was there facing a lot of regulatory issues? How about the person? How well did you really know the person that you were meeting with? Their work background, their educational history, their family life, their kids, their hobbies, their religious affiliation, their political affiliation. I would argue if you don't know the answers to those questions before you walk in the room, you're winging it a little bit. So show of hands, how many of us have ever winged it in our career? You know, where you've gone in and you're just not as prepared as you'd like to be.
Where Jordan used to work, the responsibilities that he's had, the universities that he's attended, and even some of his interests. How many of you knew that Jordan was into barbershop quartet singing, wine and travel? Now, how do you use this information? Do I walk into the meeting and say, hello, Jordan, hello, Jordan? No! That's weird. But what do? I walk in and I say, hey, Jordan, you know, before I meet with people, I like to do a little bit of homework. I just want to make sure I'm talking about things you might care about. And guess what I found? I looked at your LinkedIn profile. One of your interests is barbershop quartets. That's really cool. Like, what got you involved in that? And I bet you there's an awesome story that all of you are going to ask Jordan over the next 2 days.
So for example, she's interested in volleyball, outdoor activities, biking, working out, cooking, baking. How do you use this information? I mean, if I'm meeting with Stephanie, do I do one of these? Hi, Stephanie. Very nice to meet you. Say, I see you play volleyball. Do you wear those tight pants? No, you don't do that. You don't do that. You'll get shot. Only show me news articles from the past year, the past month, the past week, the past day. How about the past hour? And in my car, on my mobile device, in under 40 seconds, I go from 1.3 million search results to 2,430 newspaper articles to 1. There's an invisible website called YouGotTheNews.com. YouGotTheNews.com vacuums up every newspaper in the United States. The exact same thing that in Google pulled up nothing, in the invisible website You Got the News, I pull up more than 5,000 newspaper articles. I said, didn't you get the news? He said, what news? I said, well, Fortune magazine just named you guys best places to work. Huge smile comes to his face. Really? When? Oh, about 6 minutes ago, I did that little Google thing on you. But what just occurred? What just occurred? I now have the most powerful word in sales, don't I? I have permission to ask him the next question. Okay, you have a BA in English, so you probably do know what the past tense of wing it is. And you went to Duke University. I mean, just having this information, when we meet, I feel more confident. So even if I don't use the information during our meeting, I just feel more confident because I have it. This is one, it's really easy to use. It pulls up profiles or resumes of executives. Did you know that every tweet on Twitter ever sent at any time is archived and searchable forever? I'm also going to be in St. Louis at the same time that Mark's going to be in St. Louis. So how do you use this information? Again, if Mark and I wanted to do business together, now again, you got to do this carefully. Hey, Mark, I was spying on you and I see that you're going to be in St. Louis next week. I was hoping we could meet for coffee. No, you got to do it tactfully. OpenSecrets.org give you every political contribution made in the United States. Now, why is this important? Because sometimes in a meeting, knowing what not to say is as important what to say. If you go to connect.data.com, this is the back door to access it for free. So I type in the name of the company. Now notice how I put in the quotation marks, Hensel Phelps Construction. It gives me basic information on the company, but more important, it gives me a list of all the business cards it's ever collected. And on the right-hand side is the date that gives you the last time the business card was updated. Now how does data.com make its money? If you click the blue name, for a couple bucks, they'll sell you the email address. We don't need to pay for it, do we? Because I already showed you how to find it. Jiffy Lube is an oil change place, a place in the States where you bring your automobile to get your oil changed. Johnny had a negative experience at Jiffy Lube. What Johnny forgot was he was the marketing director of a minor league baseball team where Jiffy Lube was the major sponsor. So Johnny was introduced to new career opportunities the next morning. Now, about this time in my presentation, you guys are getting a little freaked out. I'm not going to tell you how I did this search, because I do like to stay out of jail, but I will show you the results. This is an Excel spreadsheet of 52,000 names. 52,000 names. First name, last name, address, city, state, zip, phone, email address, the full card type, the full credit card holder name, the full credit card number, and the 3-digit CSC file. See, I bet you didn't think by attending the World Education Congress that you too can walk out of here with the beautiful home theater system paid for, but How many of you have ever clicked on a third level connection within LinkedIn, or you just get a job title, you're not connected at all, you click on it, what happens? LinkedIn says, nah, you're not very popular, but for $49 you can upgrade. Okay, none of you work for LinkedIn, right? Because I told you, everything's free. I'm going to show you how to hack into LinkedIn. Here's how you do it. Now, my personal mantra in life is give a person a fish, you feed them for a day. Teach them to use the internet and they leave you alone for a super long time. So none of you are getting any work done this afternoon, are you? You're all going to be checking each other out on criminal searches. Ted told us he likes to golf. Let's see if he's any good. We go to ghin.com, we type in his name, and we see that, yes, he does kind of suck at golf. He's a 24 handicap. But now that we have that, we go to Google Earth, we drop in his address. We're going to drive right up his driveway, see if he's cooking pancakes this morning. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you very much.
How fascinating was that?